He is really, really probably one of the best sources we have to go to right now when it comes to this 22nd Congressional District. Luke, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
And the other, you follow politics in general. How significant is it that Governor Cuomo has a primary?
I think that it's something that he certainly probably wanted to avoid. Most elected officials don't want to deal with the primary, as you know. He's been there before with Seth or T-Chat, however. Third terms are a little bit tricky for New York governors. It's going to make him more responsive, more accountable, which I think progressive Democrats and Republicans alike support. He'll have a smaller margin of error on the campaign trail. But I don't see a clear path to victory for Cynthia Nixon. And as a political scientist, we have yet another candidate who has no political experience that is trying to campaign as a political outsider, which generally doesn't correspond with good governing.
Yeah, another celebrity too, by the way. She's a celebrity from Sex and the City. What are your thoughts on the Republican side? It looks like they're going with a guy by the name of Marcus Molinaro, I believe Dutchess County executive, somebody that's a little bit younger as opposed to DeFrancisco. Are the Republicans going to be in line to pull off another Pataki?
It'll be very difficult. Recent polling shows that Cuomo, even with the primary challenge, is still fairly popular throughout the state and looks well positioned to be reelected. So I do think the primary challenge has the potential to help Republican candidates, as they move forward here, because they can just recycle some of the criticisms that Nixon makes. But it's still going to be very difficult for them to be successful.
It is interesting to say Cuomo versus Nixon. I find that to be far. It sounds far bigger than it really is. Unfortunately. All right, can we? Do you have a question on that?
It's just about the NY-22 and the statement.
All right, let's go to NY-22. First off, I want to ask. Has Claudia Tenney weathered the storm on the issue of Democrats and being most mass shooters are Democrats? Has she weathered that storm?
In some ways, I think so. In the short term, it seems like national, international reporting has ceased. She did an interview with C-SPAN yesterday. It didn't come up. So the challenge, however, is anytime there's something written about her, particularly from a national perspective, that will be part of the caption in regards to who she is as a candidate. So it'll never completely go away. But in the short term, in terms of the media questions, it looks like those have dissipated for the time being.
I'm going to ask you.
She did a telephone town hall last week.
By the way, I somehow got invited. I don't know how in the hell that happened.
Were you on the call? I am
it was
reading
an
kind
afternoon call. It was like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Who can attend that?
I want to ask about the voting fraud that she brought up, but I want to get your reaction. Were you on the call, and what were your thoughts?
I listened to part of it. Yeah, I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but I listened to part of it.
Well, let me get into the voter fraud issue. Why is this resurfacing? Is there new information on this? Were you taken aback by this? The voter fraud being a real issue, people slipping through the cracks?
I was a little surprised she made the comments. I don't think they were necessarily planned. Obviously, when you do a call with constituents in any form, you don't know exactly what's going to be asked, even if you're screening or monitoring the calls. So I think she was, in my interpretation, responding to a question that a constituent had, and that was her perspective, that voter fraud is a major issue, that it needs more attention. She seemed to lament that the Trump's-related commission was disbanded, and, that's very controversial in terms of how political scientists understand voter fraud. It's not a major issue in the U.S., and obviously it's been politicized in recent years. But for her to jump in on that issue in that way surprised me a bit. So I wrote about it, just documenting what she said.
Any president or leader in the country that wins by 99%, there's a bit of a red flag there. I would think this country doesn't have that. And boy, are we divided. What do you have a follow-up on that?
Can I just do one more quick? It's about Brindisi. We've only got 60 seconds. The governor's going to take aim at Claudia Tenney and several other House members in the upcoming season, attacking them for NRA ratings and other things. It creates a situation where Brindisi is an A-rated. He's got an A rating by the NRA. What is your take on that dynamic? Because he's going to be really attacking his own guy in some respect, right?
I've got 20 seconds on this.
I think Brindisi's positioned himself as a supporter of gun rights. He's been consistent with that even throughout the recent mass shootings. So I think he looks at it as a strategic advantage. I think progressive Democrats have concerns about it. It remains to be seen how it'll sort out.
And I want to get you back on because I want to talk about, and I've run out of time, but I want to get the correlation between Lamb and Brindisi. I think it's really interesting and something to watch. Luke, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Let's do this again.